Welcome to Astro Venture, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Welcome back, Astro Venturers. If you're new to this Welcome back, Astro Venturers. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George, and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies, combined with the lenses we already own and a simple star tracker like the Skyguider Pro or the Star Adventurer. Today, I wanted to take a moment and talk about 3D printing. And in astrophotography, I've seen a lot of great stuff with the 3D printers. I've seen people create their own clamps to be able to put their auto-guiding cameras mounted directly to their camera lenses. I created a mount to be able to put my green laser on top of my camera, so that way there I could find a target in the night sky by simply steering the camera around rather than having to try and look through the eyepiece. So there's a lot of uses for them, and with that said, I've actually come upon some files for being able to print a Vixen Dovetail. And I can understand the reason why somebody would create this, because if you were to look it up, depending on the length, you're going to pay anywhere from $60 to a little more than $100 for a Vixen Dovetail, depending on the total length. And so I can understand the desire to make one out of, PLA, plastic, 3D printing. And so I decided to do a little bit of testing here. And this particular one, I printed at a 40% infill with a shell count of 2 and proceeded to test it. And what I found is that one, as if this were the foot for my telephoto lens, what I found is that when they were bolted together, I could not get the camera lens to stop slipping. It just comes down to the metal of the foot against the plastic of the PLA. It's just slippery. And so, to correct that, you would tighten down more, and what ends up happening is the bolt head starts to crush into the plastic, and then you're back to the same situation of it slipping again. So, not being ready to give up on it yet, I did a bit of investigating, and I actually came upon a YouTube video that was really outstanding. And in that video, they did a lot of scientific testing on the strength of 3D printing, and they tried out different infills and shell counts. And the biggest takeaway was that overall strength seemed to be gained the most from the shell count as opposed to the infill. And so this was version number 2. On this particular one, I went to a 40% infill. This one was at a 30 with a shell count of 2. This one I went up to 40 and I did a shell count of 4. It is a good bit heavier. You can tell the difference between them. Mounted up the foot onto it, and I found the exact same problem again. I kept getting that slipping. Proceeded to tighten down the 1/4-20 bolt, and once again started crushing into the plastic. So what it told me is this is not a good idea. When you take a look at the fact that you're mounting your camera and your lens, and I know with my setup, depending on which camera body and lens I'm using, I can easily surpass $4,000 in value, and to be fearful of that crashing to the ground, as opposed to spending the $60 to $100 for a proper metal Vixen Dovetail, that's the way to go. Now, with that said, I know I've been guilty of it myself, where I don't even take the best advice, and even when I know what is right, and I decide to venture forward anyway. Well, I decided to take this one step further and figure out, well, how can we make this work? Now, let's make it clear. I am telling you, no, you should not do this. You should not use 3D printed Vixen Dovetail, it's a bad idea. So now that we're clear and we understand, no, don't do it. Exploring further, because I know there's some people that are not going to let it go and they're going to try it anyway. Well, here's the solution I found. This material, it's a rubbery, grippy material. It's an anti-slip cargo mat material. And oftentimes people use to line the bottoms of drawers and things. You can purchase this online or at any fabric store. Well, I found that if I put this across the 3D printed Vixen Dovetail, I had a hole cut through to pass the corner 20 bolt through. And then I screwed that into the foot of my telephoto lens. I found that it did not slip. The grip of this rubber, now it became a fine balance thing, because on the one hand I needed to tighten down that quarter 20 so that I had good solid grip. And I mean, this thing doesn't slip at all, but being mindful of not crushing into the plastic. So if you're going to ignore the warning that I gave about just don't use it, and you're going to proceed anyway, then shell count of 4, infill 40, use the anti-slip cargo mat and put that in between, snug it down, and it will hold. Again, I'm telling you, don't do it, but if you're gonna proceed anyway, that's the way to make it work. So there you have it. 3D printing is amazing stuff. I do a lot of it for different props for my toy photography, but sometimes it's just not the right material, and that's what I came to find with the Vixen Dovetail. So if you like the information that I shared, or the information from the other videos, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell. And hope to see you on our Facebook group, Astro Venture DSLR. Until next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.